Welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We are your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is May 16, 2017. We're bringing you pretty much strictly American news today, just because that's the news that came to us. But we want to go to Kentucky, which is just south of us. We're here in Ohio, where a printer has been given the authority to, which he shouldn't have to be, to not print T-shirts for gay pride.
Now, I would like to preference this. When we're talking about baking cakes, when we're talking about hosting weddings, when we're talking about at different places, photography, I need to explain to people who don't understand what it would be for a Christian to do something like take pictures of a gay couple for a wedding. Now,
Right.
I do see a slight hypocrisy with people who they don't sit down and say, "Are you sleeping together before you're married?" Because that's a sin too, right?
I agree.
However, unfortunately, with the gay couple, it's just out there.
Right,
And
you
you can
just know.
see it
Right.
without even having to ask. And so, for a lot of these different Christians, they have felt reservations on baking a gay wedding cake. Now, we have to remember, gay marriages weren't legal until very recently. So when you're asking someone to do a gay wedding cake, it's actually it's not a legal thing anyways, right? And so there are plenty of bakers out there. There are plenty of
there are plenty of bakers. What Leah's getting to is there are plenty of other companies that are willing to do these things.
Right.
So to try to force somebody to go against their religious beliefs just
Right.
to make a point,
Right.
is wrong.
And from what I understand, before I lose everyone, from all these
You're
different
gonna lose
cases
anybody.
that I have researched, every single one said, whether it was the florist, or the photographer, it wasn't the fact that they were gay. It was the fact that it was like a wedding or something.
Right.
Okay?
And that's
they
the
had
difference.
sold flowers to gay people. They had sold cakes and happy birthday cakes to gay
Exactly.
people. They had photographs.
I don't think I've
of
actually
gay
heard a
people.
story that does not have that kind of story
Every
behind
single
it.
Christian. Now, this is a little bit different because this was a T-shirt printer who didn't want to have to print gay pride T-shirts. Now, here's the thing: if somebody comes to a T-shirt place and says, "I want FU,"
That's exactly what came to my mind.
do you think that they should be able to deny that, right? And
Or let's say there was a thing of death or something that would really kind of conflict with somebody's personal beliefs. I don't want to put that out there. Let's say drug paraphernalia or something of that nature.
so it was T-shirts for the local gay pride festival. It was a man named Blaine Adamson, and there were the Gay and Lesbian Services Organization. They go in, and unfortunately, they pick Christian outlets that they think might deny them services,
Right.
so that they can get a lawsuit going.
Exactly.
And this is what they talk about,
which is really unfortunate because
all of these came out. All of these came out at like one time,
Right.
Like within in a couple years. So, this GLSO filed a complaint against him, and when he didn't print T-shirts for the local gay pride festival, though Adamson referred the activists to another printing company, he said, "Listen, I can't for religious purposes. I can't do this, but here's a company that will do this for you for the same price, right?" And they ended up obtaining the T-shirts at no cost to them. Okay, they still sued him. So the attorneys at Alliance Defending Freedom, Representative Adamson, appealed the order to the Fayette Circuit Court, which reversed the commission's ruling and affirmed Adamson's religious freedom. The commission, however, then appealed that decision to the Court of Appeals, which ultimately upheld the Circuit Court's ruling. The appeals court opinion, Chief Judge Joy A. Kramer, referred to the fact that Hands On Originals brands itself as a Christian outfitter with the following right to refusal on its website. And so, of course, they came to him probably to get
Right.
a lawsuit going, which is very disingenuous to begin with. When somebody wants to try to get a lawsuit going against someone, it's kind of like me going to a Muslim bakery and asking them to bake a cake for me that says, "Jesus Christ is Lord, there is no God, but our God, Jesus is the only God."
Has anybody tried to do that?
Yes, Louder with Crowder called up Muslim bakeries, and they wouldn't.
Of course
they wouldn't
do
do
it.
gay cakes. He said, would you do gay cakes? They
Okay.
wouldn't do gay cakes either. Like 10 of them.
So their website says that Hands-On Originals both employs and conducts business with people of all genders, races, religions, sexual orientation, and national origins. However, due to the promotional nature of our products, it is the prerogative of Hands-On Originals to refuse any order that would endorse positions that conflict with the convictions of the ownership.
So he actually has gay people as his employees. Just to let everyone know, he is not a bigot. But
and he conducts business with those same types of people.
Exactly. It was the nature of it. So, like, let's say gay people come in and want some baseball shirts or something
Right.
like that. It was the nature of it putting forth a certain
Because what
message.
happens is your brand, it's going to say, we got these t-shirts at Hands On.
Right.
And so you're going to be putting your name and your endorsement
Right.
behind what, even though you say we're not affiliated with this, it still is kind of putting your name and your brand behind it.
So it is not the aim of public accommodation laws nor the First Amendment to treat speech as this type of activity.
This
or
is what
conduct.
the judge was finding.
This is for two reasons. First, speech cannot be considered an activity or conduct that is engaged in exclusively or predominantly by a particular class of people. Speech is an activity anyone engages in regardless of religion, sexual orientation, race, gender, age, or even corporate status. Second, the right of free speech does not guarantee to any person the right to use someone else's property, even property owned by the government and dedicated to other purposes, as a stage to express said ideas.
Right.
So you don't have a right to use somebody else's property to express your ideas, but you do have a right to open your own printing press and print your own t-shirts.
Exactly.
Okay?
Or to go to other printing places and get your t-shirts there.
So nothing in the Fairness Ordinance prohibits the Hands-On Originals, a private business, from engaging in viewpoint or message censorship. Thus, although the menu of services it provides to the public is accordingly limited and censors certain points of view, it is the same limited menu it offers to every customer and is not therefore prohibited by the Fairness Ordinance. So it's like, this is the, we're not doing this for anybody. We're not just like discriminating just against them. So it says that the judge found no evidence that Hands-On Originals refused any individual the full and equal enjoyment of goods, services, or facilities, privileges, and advantages and accommodations it offered to everyone else because the individual in question had a specific sexual orientation
or gender
identity. The ADF notes the concurring opinion by Judge Deborah Hembry Lambert, who observed that Hands-On Originals is protected by Kentucky's Religious Freedom Restoration Statute, and that Adamson is free to operate his business in accordance with his sincerely held religious beliefs. Now, remember what Clinton said: we are going to have to go after people's sincerely held religious beliefs and change them.
Right.
This is what the Clinton wants to do. This is what the leftist wants to do. Because somebody sincerely believes that they don't want to promote a gay pride parade with printing these t-shirts, Clinton wants to change your mind, force you to change everything that you believe.
Right.
However, in a blog post, the LGBT group said, this ruling sets a dangerous precedent for our community and chips away at those ordinances that are in place to protect against such blatant discrimination. Over the next several days, the boards of Pride Community Services Organization and the Lexington Human Rights Commission will have to make a decision about whether this ruling should be appealed to the Kentucky Supreme Court. Americans should always have the freedom to believe and freedom to express those beliefs and the freedom to not express ideas that would violate their conscience, says the ADF Senior Counsel. Today's decision is a victory for printers and other creative professionals who serve all people but cannot promote all messages. It is also a victory for all Americans because it reassures us all that no matter what you believe, the law can't force you to express a message in conflict with your deepest convictions. Now, what if somebody had went and asked to print something in the newspaper? Newspapers actually edit things all the time, ads and things like that. Newspapers don't just let anything run. Like Swingers Club, down the street, ad, buy one, get one free, whatever, night. So there are certain things, and unfortunately for maybe the cake bakers, it might not fall under this particular ruling because this was actually, from what I've been reading, was more
media thing.
It was the media
right
aspect of it, the right of printing something. that, writing something, asking somebody to, write a blog about you or something. It's a really kind of a weird situation which never would have been addressed before, and now it's being put out there. And I know gay people want and the gay rights and the craziness. They promote a message and they force it down people's throats rather than being open to people saying, "Wait a minute, okay?" Because when you Google gay pride, okay, it's not, and it might. I don't know his whole reason for the gay pride T-shirts, but when I Google gay pride,
the images
Tim
that
Allen,
come up, oh my gosh,
took his kid there. A bunch of naked men in thongs on all of the floats, walking down naked. Now, if we were expressing gay pride with suits and ties, and they were fighting for rights and respect, walking down the street, it would go a lot farther than waving your thingy out over all for everybody to see, and so it's one of those things where gay pride parade, you have to recognize what that means to people.
Right.
And if Christians were doing the same thing, like Christian pride, and then a bunch of naked people went down and float after float after float, like, hey, let's go back to Adam and Eve in the garden. We have our own, we're doing the whole, what is it, nudist colony Christian thing or whatnot.
Okay, I have not heard of those people.
I would have to deny, Christian nudist colony T-shirt. Even though they call themselves Christians.
That is the best example you could ever give. Now, I don't know that I have heard, I'm sure it exists, a Christian nudist colony. Seems like an oxymoron to me. But whatever.
Get back to Adam and Eve.
Let's pretend for one moment that there were Christian nudist colonies. I don't know why they would be wanting T-shirts. But let's pretend they did. Let's pretend that
they might want photography and they might want a cake.
Okay, yeah. If they wanted photography, that's a better example. Because if they wanted T-shirts, I'm giving them T-shirts. Yeah, for sure about that. I'll print anything on the T-shirt, even the gay pride. You get some clothes on. But if they wanted photography, I draw the line there for sure with the Christian nudists. You heard it here, folks. Leah and Michelle, Resistance Chicks, about the Christian nudist colonies running rampant around the United States, becoming a real problem here. This is a very huge concern for us in America, if you're not aware.
In our business, we haven't denied service to anyone in any ethical or moral situation.
No, we have not.
But we have refused when we felt uncomfortable.
We have, and that's the thing. We went to a couple of consultations. And the people themselves, we're pet sitters for a living, we own our own business. The people themselves, the owners, just gave us the creeps.
I think only twice.
We didn't like them, and we came over really convicted about it. Or conflicted, I should say, not convicted, both. And it felt like a dangerous situation, and we called them up and
treated his dog really abusively.
Right. So
we had a right to refuse.
You have the right to refuse service, and that's,
I felt
to
that
me,
was a danger.
In America, we didn't refuse the service because it was a single white male, but that's what he was. But I guess somebody could accuse us of, you just didn't want to give him service because he was a single
dog. They
white.
were married.
Oh, that's right. Either way, we were apparently, because we refused service to them, refusing service to, that's right, they were a married couple.
They were pretty mad too.
They were really mad. It's just because you're a married white couple and we don't like it. I mean, come on, guys. You have the right to refuse service to anybody that makes you feel uncomfortable.
Especially, we were going to somebody's home, so we have to be careful. But
all right. Did I just sign off?
Nope.
Yeah, I did. You heard it here first. Okay. Leah Michelle, it's not a conspiracy theory if it's the truth. Like, comment, subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring the bell for notifications. Find us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Share these on your social media pages because you can't get this kind of weirdness anywhere else.
Right.
I was cold.